Hello there, Tekno here with yet another video review, my first in a long time, and a very timely one at that. See, as some of you may know, the Rescue Bots cartoon, a line targeted at young kids, is going to be airing this weekend on the Hub in the US. It's kind of the equivalent of Rescue Heroes with Transformers, so no Decepticons, and very simplified to transform Autobots. But suppose there were foes for these Autobots to fight. And this is where the Autorollers come in. Originally created for the Generation 2 line, only 2 of these molds were released under that banner. But they would find a second life when they were re-decoed and re-released under Japan's Beast Wars 2 line as Predacon soldiers of the Predacon leader Galvatron. And so we're going to start by taking a look at the first of the 4, AUTOCRASHER. Now in this mode it's a fairly simple excavator, and really there's not much to it. I mean, it's got the working shovel, but again, since these aren't really designed for heavy posability or anything like that, well, they're pretty simplistic in terms of what they can do. It's got rolling wheels, and most importantly is the way this gimmick works. Now this was a fairly clever implementation, kind of before its time. Now these guys roll normally, but they also have the ability to be able to transform just by rolling them, thus the name the Autorollers, by flipping the switch on the back, which would then engage gears in the wheels. These wheels would then, when you roll the character, allow the figure to mostly transform. So, to transform this guy, all we need to do really is just have him roll out. And that's 90% of the transformation right there. Fold down his arms, and presto, we have him in robot mode. In robot mode, AUTOCRASHER, well, he looks pretty awesome, I do have to say. I mean, he doesn't have much posability to him, but he's not really meant to. I mean, he's got the arm posability, the legs are pretty much locked, but he's got a bit of head posability, he looks cool, and he's got the buzzsaw there. Along with the other Autorollers, he also does come with missiles, but I didn't actually take most of them out of the package because they don't really store anywhere all that easily, so I didn't bother with them. We can lock him in this mode by actually just flipping the switch again, and that should keep him nice and secure. You can roll the back wheels fine. And to transform him back, we just unlock that, and well, fold up the arms, and reverse the process. Like so. Now, next in line, we have AUTOLAUNCHER, who turns into a military APC of some sort. Again, the same gimmick applies with that you can lock and unlock the wheels in order to lock the transformation. But this one has the interesting added gimmick in that the switch can actually go in both directions, so you can either transform it by rolling it forward or rolling it backwards. Again, to transform this figure, all that you need to do is just drive it up, and this is even simpler in that, yeah, that's really all that it has in terms of transformation steps. It's got a bit of limited arm posability, not all that much though, and it has a gun that stores in the back, which you can put in its hand, and again, this can also shoot missiles. However, it does have one neat gimmick that has been added into the figure. AUTOLAUNCHER is capable of loading up discs, kind of like those Ninja Turtles pizza shooters, that sort of thing. And using the switch on the back here, you can then press in and shoot out these discs that it stores. Third of the group, we have AUTOSTINGER, who again turns into a construction vehicle. Interestingly, the 2 that were actually released in G2 were the 2 construction vehicles in the group. Again, he's got the little switch on the back, which lets you either free roll, or it lets you transform him and roll out. And to transform this guy, we roll him, the legs extend, and he goes up like so. At which point, we then just have to open his arms and be able to pose him, and he's pretty much done. Lock the switch in order to keep him in place, and then we can pull at his little claw, which is capable of grabbing things, and his other hand is capable of launching a pair of missiles with the standard spring-loaded launchers. Again, I have all my missiles in storage for these guys. And last, but certainly not least, we have my favorite of the Autorollers, simply because of how different he is from all the others. And this one, of course, is AUTOJETTER. Very descriptive names, huh? Anyway, AUTOJETTER turns into a plane. He actually has retractable landing gear here, so you can actually sit him down. And he has some very interesting missile launchers. These ones I actually have in because they store in both modes really easily. And they have a cool firing gimmick whereby you press this in order to launch them off. So it's friction-based rather than spring-based, but it's really well implemented. Now, transforming this guy is actually the trickier one. It's the one that involves the most steps to do afterwards. And to do him, again, we roll to stand him up. But that's the interesting thing is the fact that you still have to actually go and unfold the arms and pose them. All the others automatically get their arms in place, more or less. This guy, you actually have to extend them. And also, unlike the others, I've also found that in order to get him to stay in robot mode, you actually need to relock this button. Otherwise, he's going to be a very floppy mess very quickly. It doesn't take much at all for this guy to start transforming back into his other form. Even though he looks the coolest out of all of these guys and is definitely the most unique out of all of them in that he's not a car. So overall, AUTOJETTER is definitely my favorite of the four. In conclusion, the Autorollers are fairly unique toys from when they came out, and they're fairly unique in the line that they are most well known for, the Beast Wars second line, in that they're some of the few vehicles in a largely beast-centric line, which was, albeit, full of repurposed molds from both G2 and Beast Wars. They're very different in style aesthetic from the other figures that were in their respective line that they were meant to supposedly be from. But they're quite neat figures. And sadly, I haven't had a chance to get my hands on any Rescue Bots. All of those, from what I understand, are essentially one-shot transformations. These guys aren't quite one-shot transformations, but they're different than activators in that rather than press to launch, they're roll to launch, so they're very much interactive. Really, they're the predecessors of a lot of the stuff that we have nowadays. Topspin and Twin Twist were the original automatic transform guys. These guys are an extension of those two figures, and really they're an important piece of Transformers history. Plus, they don't go for all that much online. You can get the Korean versions pretty cheap on places like Big Bad Toy Store. At least you could when I got these guys a year ago. If you want your Rescue Bots to have some bad guys to fight, well, you can just class it up. And rather than just getting any old villains, why not get some with the genuine rub-selling creds to prove it? They may not be Decepticons, no, but they are still Predacons. And really, despite their limited articulation as a product of the times, you know what? As a gimmick, they're kind of pretty cool. This is General Tekno signing off.